Hi there out there, all of you guys watching the ATK Pro Series. In case you didn't know, that giant Mercedes-Benz badge that you saw now is one of the reasons we're here, because Mercedes-Benz has officially partnered with the ATK Pro Series to bring you this, the Gran Turismo Round 2 at a GT original circuit that looks very, very tricky indeed, but more about that later. Of course, today would not be possible without the Kyalami 9 Hour and Motorsport South Africa giving their official stamp of approval on this year event. Today being round 2, we're going to be seeing who are the best GT drivers in South Africa. And of course, the winners have a host of prizes and opportunities to look forward to as the season commences. Today, drivers will be driving the Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG. This race car produces quite a bit of power, and I think it's going to be a big step up from the production road cars, the AMG A-Class that the drivers had to pilot at the last round. Speaking of drivers, D Norke, of course, your winner from the previous heat. And let's see if he's going to be able to do anything today and try and keep that top spot on his side of the circuit. Now, there have been some changes for today. There were 3 demotions and 3 promotions. So look out for some new names on the circuit. Some guys from Division 2 made their way up to Division 1. Now, looking at the circuit, it's not a real-world circuit, but I did have a look at some on-track laps earlier on, and I tell you what, it looks exceptionally tricky with a couple of mistakes that could be very, very, very costly if drivers do make them. But this is the ATK Pro Series, and it doesn't have the word pro in it for nothing, because these are the best sim and Gran Turismo drivers in the country, all in one location for all of our entertainment. My name is Ernest Page, and of course, I'm joined as always by Marius Roberts in the virtual commentary booth. Marius, the Mercedes-Benz ATK Pro Series has now gotten some serious steam behind it, and we were just talking about the level of professionalism that we saw in the Sainte-Croix round 2 yesterday. Last week, or a few weeks ago, with round 1 of the Gran Turismo version, the drivers were just impeccable, weren't they? And I think we're going to see more of that today.
Yeah, I've just been blown away. Obviously, we've spent a lot of time all of last year with Sainte-Croix. I've kind of grown up the Gran Turismo guy, so this is kind of more of what I'm familiar with. But what for me is super exciting is you've just got 2 completely different skill sets in a way. I mean, yes, they're all racing simulators, aren't they? But at the end of the day, I love the fact that we're sitting here with single manufacturer, so all the top drivers are in the exact same car. There is no fiddling around. The settings are all the same. So it gives us super close racing, which is what we had last time for 50 laps or 50 minutes, and that I really enjoy. And you said in your intro so beautifully, it's like it's a big jump up, because it's not just driving one type of car. That's a Mercedes-Benz for sure, but from an all-wheel drive 245 kilowatt AMG A-Class 2013, they're getting into the SLS, which is a very, very different machine. And, you know, they're going to get into a Formula 1 car, and they're going to get into a GT3 car. But at the end of the day, after 6 rounds, you're going to have a guy that can drive pretty much anything and everything. So I'm looking forward to it, as always. And I love the look of the circuit. You know, I look at anything that has got big changes in speed means there's going to be opportunities for overtaking. There's going to be opportunities to get things wrong, and there's a lot of fast flowing sections in here followed by heavy braking points, and I think it makes for a really good racetrack. And that's what's nice with Gran Turismo is they're homemade, their special designed circuits generally have a little bit of everything in them. So it's going to be a good race. Obviously, there's a lot of strategy involved again in terms of the guys do have to do their compulsory pit stop. So it'll be interesting to see how that all runs. But looking forward to another exciting race. And I hope it lives up to the hype that we had from our first round.
I think Gran Turismo certainly has something going on for it, because as you said, the hype of the first round, there was a lot of changes that happened mid-race, the tire degradation, the slipstreaming, the way the way the cars handled after a few 15, 20, 30-minute mark. We've got the Mercedes-Benz here, and again, another big bonus with Gran Turismo is that for just 350,000 credits, folks, you too can go purchase this 419 horsepower Mercedes-Benz and then see what you can do, and if you can keep up with the guys like D Norke and Deegan Peterson over here as we look at the standings from last week's race. D Norke, untouchable last week. Deegan Peterson, Lorenzo, these guys are some of the top drivers in this competition, and I doubt that we're going to be seeing much different today, or are we?
Well, look, I mean, we don't know now because it's a completely different car. But I mean, everyone was pretty much there and thereabouts in terms of qualifying pace. It's just how you stitch the stuff together when it gets into the race. But I like what you said there. I think that for me has always been the success of Gran Turismo, is that it kind of is the grand old daddy. That's where all of us started in sim racing, and a lot of people have moved into other platforms. But your entry level is a lot lower in terms of cost. And the thing that I am absolutely blown away with is that even in that lineup, we've got guys that are racing there that are using controllers, and the guys will be racing with full rigs. So for me, I love the fact that you can be competitive driving with your thumbs, whereas in Assetto Corsa, you're not going to have a freaking chance unless you're sitting with a proper rig setup, you know. So that for me is super exciting too. I love that.
Well, with regard to the ATK Pro Series, that's what it's all about. We've covered those bases. And it gives everybody the opportunity, because there's, we always talk about Junior McCall as our example, the 12-year-old protege that we've got in the Assetto Corsa season. And I mean, there could be another 9, 10, 11-year-old out there with the controller in his hand, and he could be the next Junior McCall. And this is that opportunity. This is that moment. This could be the storyline to your big story, whoever's listening out there. And I'm sure guys like Dino K, Lorenzo, Carl Oosthuis, and Ewan Taylor and the like are trying to tell their story through this competition, and the rest of us will watch and see how it unfolds. Of course, we've got a long race ahead of us, and this car weighs 1.5 tons, Marius. I wonder how that's going to be affecting the tires and all of those type of things.
I know we've got Steve joining us, so I'm sure he'll be able to give us a lot more technical input in terms of what setup they've gone with for the vehicle. But I mean, I know just driving the SLS in real terms, you know, when it came to South Africa, I actually had it around Kyalami, and it's a really tricky car to get set up right because it's got a long nose, and that is what a lot of guys struggle with, is that you literally are sitting on the rear axle, which is great where you want to be, but with a long nose like that, it tends to really push the front end, so you get a lot of front end wash. Understeer is a real issue with it. But if you do find yourself in a position where you're going to lose the rear, it happens really, really fast. So it's a difficult car to get the balance set up. And I think that's why Merc opted for the new AMG, because it's more, let me say the word Porsche-like in terms of it's more accessible, its performance to everyone, whereas the SLS was quite a challenging driver's car.
Yeah, indeed. And that long nose thing you talk about, that's definitely something that these guys are going to have to worry about. Not much changes, or not hardly any changes they can make on these cars except for brake bias. And I think we can get Steve to confirm that. But certainly they're going to be having their workout out for them, because if you're going to be plowing through those corners, then you're probably going to be wearing out those tires prematurely. Now, if you look at that standings over there, you'll see some names that may or may not look familiar. But unfortunately, there are 3 drivers that were relegated and 3 drivers that were pushed up. And the 3 drivers that got pushed up, Timmy being one of them, Courtney and Michael, now find themselves in Division 1, taking on the big boys. And let's see if we can have a bit of a shake-up here from the guys coming from Division 2. That's what that Pro Series is all about.
Yeah, listen, that for me is awesome. It was something that we introduced this year for Assetto Corsa as well. I'm glad we're doing the same with GT Sport, is that it really does keep the Division 2 guys super committed and hungry, and obviously the Division 1 guys honest. It's a little bit different to what we see in Assetto Corsa, because here it's based on where you finish in the race, whereas in Assetto Corsa it's based on your qualifying position, because the view is something could happen in the race, you get taken out, and but there obviously is monitoring the Gran Turismo, will obviously issue penalties and that sort of stuff, and we obviously get to watch what's going on as well. So what I did noticed last time, and it really impressed me, was that the guys were very, very clean in terms of how they raced. And I think a lot of these guys are used to sharing track together, because this isn't a new series. It's something that's been running for a long time. It's just obviously new to ATK. So the guys know each other, and that for me is always crucial. But you hit the nail on the head. This type of car, it's going to come down to tire management and also fuel. We noticed last time a lot of strategy with how much fuel the guys put in. If you remember, we were looking at the darts and having a look, slip slipstream is a real big issue when you play in Gran Turismo, and we were seeing some major fuel savings for the guys in round one where they were on the Daytona type circuit. Yeah, I don't think there's many benefits because there weren't any long straights, so I don't think the slipstream is going to be so big an issue, and probably not the fuel saving as well. So maybe they'll be speccing their cars quite similarly in terms of fuel.
Well, we're going to be moving on from this for now, from the Pro Division list over here. And then in front of us now we have the championship standings. K in first position, 500 points, separated by just 10 from first. Second, Deegan Peterson. And the man with a name that everybody knows, I think he's got a bit of a pressure on him. Unfortunately, me and you having been around for a bit longer, we know the old boys' names. And he's Lorenzo over there running a familiar surname by the looks of things.
Yeah, Sav Gualtieri. Obviously, I don't know how he feels about the fact that Lorenzo is driving a Mercedes-Benz. Because Sav is a man known in South Africa for making BMWs go stupid, crazy fast. But Lorenzo was good. We saw amazing racecraft from him at the last round, which is really cool. But is Steve here?
Steve, yeah, there he is.
Steve, you're sitting there so quietly, but you must jump in. Otherwise, Ernest and I never give you a chance.
I'm letting you guys do the intro. I just want to clear one thing up though quickly. On the season, they're not actually doing compulsory pit. So my Dean
Unfortunately, we got Steve's breaking up over there. Steve, you're breaking up. We just got to check your signal for us, if you don't mind.
But I think what he was saying is no compulsory pit stops. But it looks like you obviously pit when you need to change tires and when you need to put in fuel. So you can run as long as you want to, as light as you want to. So it looks like that's what the setup is there. So sorry, correction on that if we did give you the wrong information, but that makes it quite cool. It's very much MotoGP style. Pick your tires and see how long you can make them last. Obviously setup here is the same, but we did see that in that first round. It's like when the guys were pitting was crucial in terms of how much fuel they have left and when they were pitting and do they run in fuel saving mode or not. So hopefully we get Steve back to give us more info.
One of the things that I think we will see here, and I think that's one of the reasons we have such close racing here, is because Gran Turismo does allow for a bit more side-by-side action. Assetto Corsa, I think, punishes a little bit too harshly sometimes when it comes to that. And Gran Turismo does allow the drivers to get alongside each other. And that's what we want to see. We want to see good, close racing all the way down the grid. And that's certainly what we got at round one last time. We've got about 3 minutes to go now, Marius, before qualifying starts. And what a qualifying it's going to be today. Last time we had some technical issues with qualifying. Hopefully none this time. But we did see the order get set pretty early on both times. I mean, what do you think is going to happen today? What are you expecting to see today?
Well, I just think most guys are going to want to go out and get their lap time done and dusted. But what is pretty different here to what we normally see with a Assetto Corsa, it looks like the guys go out and do lap after lap after lap after lap and just keep running. You know, they're not coming in and then going out and having another run at it. So I'm expecting to see our top runners from a pace and qualifying perspective to set their lap time quite early on, and we'll soon know who the top dogs are. But I think it's going to be much of what we saw last time. I expect Dean to be up at the top again. He actually messaged me and was saying he's like so flipping nervous, and I said, yeah, but it's good to be nervous. I said, nerves are what keep you sharp. I mean, obviously you want the nerves to be improving your focus as opposed to distracting you. So let's hope he's got his butterflies flying in formation. But it's nice to hear guys super excited about racing and the fact that there's commentary and we're trying to make a big show out of the whole thing. I certainly think it does elevate the stress and pressure for the guys come Monday night racing.
Oh, yes, and I love it. I love adding the pressure onto the guys here. Speaking of pressure, the Pace Motorsport guys getting lots of shout-outs in the comments here, so feel free to put those comments in the comments box here on YouTube. We'll be the commentators. You guys can comment, and we'll be sure to try and give you guys as many shout-outs as possible. Pace Motorsport, and remember, they had quite a good-looking car there. We see the first Pace car there in 6th position by Kalen Mauer, and the car did look good last time. I wonder what the Mercedes-Benz SLS is going to look like today.
Well, listen, we had some of the guys in our racing yesterday go and change their liveries. I mean, I'm an old guy. I've started wearing glasses. You know, I'm kind of hoping that the guys stick to the same livery so I can start identifying them. But the challenge for us was obviously a lot of the time there are 2 or 3 guys in the same team
Yes.
racing in Division 1. So you've got 3 identical cars with the same livery. Makes it really, really tough to call. But that's where Steve jumps into it. But yeah, man, let us stop talking nonsense. Let's go pay our sponsors and let's get back to some racing after the ad break. I'm super amped, Ernest. I think it's going to be a cracker.
So, Marius, we're just having some technical issues there, and we hopefully should be connecting soon. Qualifying is currently running, and I, for one, am dying to see who.
I've got a suggestion. Let's move this to Tuesday night. Because I think Monday is Gremlin night, because it's now been, I mean, in our first round it was in the middle of qualifying. Qualifying luckily is happening. We just can't access the server to see it. So I know you're a bit of a whiz kid. I don't know how you're multitasking with all these other things, but you're busy getting comments and YouTube and I don't know what all you bloody doing. I'm just looking at a picture of myself on screen at the moment. But I mean, maybe are you able to see what's going on in qualifying through the comments?
Unfortunately not. I'm waiting because the guys are also seeing what we're seeing. I need to get myself a PlayStation set up at home here and try and get on Gran Turismo again. I don't know if my thumbs are as well trained as they used to be, though, to be honest with you. I mean, I used to be pretty good at Gran Turismo, but that was a very long time ago. But I think we're going to have to get the consoles at home, Marius. At the very least, we can practice a little bit.
But you know what? I got mine out the other night, and it keeps on turning on and shutting down, fires up, turns off. So it's got to go in for a service. But we are talking PlayStation 3. So it is quite cold. But I was actually looking forward to warming my thumbs up because, I mean, that's what I was playing on, you know, and it's... Man, it really did set up. We spoke in that first round. You have a look at the first bunch of guys to really create this racing for real scenario. We spoke about Ashley Oldfield here in South Africa, but Luca Ordonez was the name that everyone knows because he was racing at one of the Le Mans that I went to. Here he is, a guy that was a sim racer, and Nissan with their GTR Academy did wonderful things in terms of taking gamers and giving them an opportunity. And I mean, that was then. Now, the simulator world is real. This is sport. We've got Motorsport South Africa endorsing this. Guys are earning salaries. It's a career. It's professional. And I think it's super, super exciting.
Yeah, exciting stuff indeed. And I think it's only going to get more exciting, especially for these drivers where the opportunities are going to become more and more now. As someone that I think I might have peaked too early, because when I was racing, there weren't this many opportunities. Certainly, there were a couple of prizes here and there, but nothing quite like what the ATK Pro Series and Mercedes-Benz have brought to the table.
Ernest, don't say you peaked too early. Rather just go, we were pioneers. we led the way like Christopher Columbus. No, seriously, I mean, it must be awesome to be like born 10 years later, and growing up in the generation. But what is awesome, and I mean, if Steve is around, he can comment. He mentioned that last time, the age disparity. There are guys that are 50 years old that are racing. You've got juniors that are playing as well. And that for me is what is so awesome, is that it is even Stevens for everyone. If you're a skinny Malinky or you're a chunky bugger, you're never going to go karting if you're weighing 95 kgs like I am. It's just you're at a disadvantage. But in the world of sim racing, everyone's weighs the same, So that for me I like, because it really is inclusive.
Yeah, and age is certainly more than just a number when it comes to motorsport. But yeah, with sim racing, there's no age limit either. I mean, experience can count for a lot. We've got Lorenzo, who's 22 at the moment. Reino, another one of our GT Sport drivers, not in this category, unfortunately, but he is 50 years of age. Then on the far end of the scale, we got Tebogo, who's 7 years old, and more than likely our youngest driver in.
That is crazy. 7. Wow.
Yeah, so he's got a long way to go. I think give that guy a couple of seasons and we might see him near the front of the pack. But speaking of front of the pack, the usual names at the moment, we haven't seen more than one race in this series, so it's going to be difficult to call them the usual names. But based on the pace and consistency last time, I think the top 5, Dean, Deegan, Lorenzo, Carl, and Ewan, certainly are people to look out for. And I think we just got word from our producer now that we might go to the qualifying shortly, and then we can find out firsthand if that is actually the case today.
Yeah, listen, it is tricky for us. Oh, good, we've got qualifying action now, which is great. But I mean, I like what you said. That is obviously quite tricky for us because this is totally new to us in terms of who the drivers are. We're getting to learn the names of the guys and obviously get more and more info on them as well. But look at this track. I love it. Old school. Have a look. There's no parking lot concrete on either side. It's grass. So if you put a wheel wrong, you are compromised. And this is what I spoke to you about. There's some really nice little direction changes. And then fast sections and some heavy braking points as well. So it's very definitely a Gran Turismo type track, which I do enjoy. Obviously trying to just catch up with where we are, how much time is left. I see we've got 8 minutes. We're in 8 minutes into this qualifying session. So at the moment we've got, who have we got up at the top there?
We've got
SM3 Pro. I mean, yeah.
2 minute 19.0 is the best lap time there for him. RTA DKP in second position. And I don't see Dean anywhere. DMR SN8KI in third position over there. Sorry, now we've got JDJ in third position. And look at how close these times are, though. 2 minute
that's what I love.
0 till 2 minute 20.0, all separating the top 8. And that in 8th position there is Lorenzo. How do you say that surname? You say
Gualtieri.
Gualtieri.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm loving that because what it looked like, the top 8 or 9 are all running the same similar times, so there really is nothing in it. And we saw this as well where the teammates were helping each other out, trying to give them some additional tow. I don't think it's going to be the case at the Sainte-Croix circuit today. I think it's not enough. not enough time for the guys to sit and muck around and play like that. But not much time left in qualifying, and have a look at the gap. I mean, that is 9,000ths of a second separating first and second. Nothing in it, but that is what you expect when you're running in Division 1. Everyone running the same cars, same setups. That is what makes it such incredible racing for me.
Incredible racing indeed, and I think we can look forward to some incredible racing. If you've got times that are that close as we now go on board down to the braking zone, now into the left hand over here, up the hill they go. Just look at that twitch, and look how wide the guys are running as they come onto the exit. Qualifying is pretty much done now, and this will be as it stands. We'll get those names up shortly and figure out who is in the top spot over here. Oh.
Yeah, it's always a tricky bit for us because, you know, I like calling the guys by their names, but I mean, what we've got in front of us now, all their handles. So we'll try and figure out who's who in the Zoom.
SMP Pro is Stefan Mock. That's Stefan Mock who takes first position, but we'll be back after this. We're just going to go to ads first, and then when we get back, we can discuss who took that first position. Oh, the race is underway. Off they go. Safa in first position. Oh, second position slots down. 0.4 of a second down. SMP Pro in first place. That is Steve there in first position, Marius. I know the names
Steve
are...
and Mocker, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, in first position there in the Mercedes-Benz, of course, as they make their way around lap 137 minutes of racing remaining. These guys are absolutely on it by the looks of things. They look like they're already pushing very, very hard indeed as Safa holds on to the back of Steve over there. DKP, that is our second place finisher from the previous race, down, I think that's in third position, yeah. So he's our second place winner. Oh, a bit of a twitch there from the leader. Oh, hard on the brakes now. What
you
a
see how
circuit,
cool,
eh?
yeah, you see how cool that corner is, because obviously they're using a proper street circuit here,
Yes.
and then a little bit of the racetrack that links in. So you're getting the car wanting to go one way, and you need to go the other way, because that's how the circuit's lined up. So very, very tricky, and especially in cars like this, because so easy, they are very, very twitchy on setup. So yeah, that was a great onboard example of that, really needing to nail the brake markers. But have a look how close this is. There is nothing to choose between the two of them. Steve, quite a difficult car to drive around here.
Yeah, it's one of the easier classes in Gran Turismo GR4, but the Merc isn't one of my personal favorites. It's quite twitchy, like you guys were saying earlier on. A lot of your Gran Turismo FIA challenges are run with just the GR3 and just GR4 cars, which are your GT3 and GT4. But obviously compared to Sainte-Croix, it's not quite as tricky with the setup. You just run the brake bias and fuel maps.
Well, Kyle is all over the back of Steve over there. Kyle's making sure to keep Steve honest over there. That is Kyle Oosthuizen there. And he finished 4th in the last race, round 1. Now running in 2nd position, but certainly applying the pressure. Oh, look at how wide Steve runs there. And this is a pressure cooker situation for Steve at the moment. And this circuit, in some ways, also... Oh, look at that. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. It reminds me of the street circuit, Macau, where it's wall-to-wall action, one corner to the next. And these guys are running these cars from the outside of the corner onto the apex. Oh, look at that, side by side they go. On the outside now goes Kyle. Kyle's down the outside. Steve,
no, we further back here. That's called Terry.
Yeah,
that was further back. But I mean, you see, I love, they were actually leaning on each other there down the straight. proper racecraft. But look, I mean, our front two have kind of broken away, but I mean, we've got a great battle here for 6th place. And have a look, 3 cars, 2 abreast through that corner. And have a look, I mean, it's just, I love these sort of circuits, because there are so many lines. There's no one perfect line through this track around the circuit. I mean, I haven't even driven it, but you can just see it, that there are different options that the guys can take. And that, for me, is what makes for good racing. And as a driver, that's what you want to start exploiting, is a slightly different line that's going to give you the advantage over the guy in front of you. Any pushing track limits here, you're going to get punished, because it's grass or it's a concrete wall.
Well, that last corner that you saw there, Marius, as the guys come out there, that's one of the dangerous sections, because if they make a mistake, they will run wide, the road tightens up, and then they will knock into that wall. As we see them go into that first corner over there, the left-hander, very tight stuff. Terry in the lead at the moment. That's Taylor just
and
behind
Michael
him.
Roux. Yeah, it's
Michael
Taylor
Roux.
and Michael Roux and Lorenzo having an epic battle here, which is really nice to see. Looks like Lorenzo's got a bit of breathing space now as Evan and Michael get themselves caught up in a battle. But battles all the way through, which is really, really cool. And we're getting excited here like it's a 10-lap sprint race. But have a look at the time down, the time counter in the right corner there, 33 minutes to go. So still plenty of racing. And as Steve was saying, obviously the guys running slightly different engine maps, which they can obviously change. How important is fuel going to be here? It's not like we saw at the Daytona type circuit where drafting played a massive benefit, Steve, and the guys could actually run lean on fuel.
Yeah, I think it's still going to have a big effect. Like we see our 2 leaders now.
Down the inside. Safa makes a move down the inside, takes it. Safa makes a move down the inside. Look at that, right up against the wall he goes. That was superb driving there from RTS Safa. That, of course, is Kyle Oosthuizen. And Kyle Oosthuizen makes it stick around the outside there. And then, fantastic stuff. And now he's got a little bit of pressure from 2nd and 3rd place. Steve, I mean, this is the kind of racing I'm sure you've come to expect from these guys.
Definitely. We're just on cue. DMR SMP3 Pro pops up with a time penalty. When I spoke to Carl this afternoon, he actually said the one thing to watch out for on this track is track limits penalties on turn 1, and also front tire wear was quite an issue. He said he expects most of the guys to save a bit of fuel and go for the no stopper.
Well, Marty, as you mentioned it earlier on, the front end of these cars in the real world do tend to wash out a little bit, and there you have it. 1.6 seconds now is the penalty. He's going to have to slow down, but he doesn't want to give up a position. Slows it down now, all the way down, takes the penalty on the straight and slots back into third place just before the corner.
See, that's cost him. Dropped off the back of the two RTA guys now.
Yeah. Cost him big time. Now we've got an RTA double whammy in the front there. That is RTA Safa in first position. Kyle Oosthuizen in there. And another RTA car, RTA DKP in second. And that, of course, is Deegan Peterson, the man that got second place at the last event. And I'm sure this time, even with his teammate, he's not going to want to come second again. He's going to want to go for that first place. Do we have team orders here, Steve? No, these guys are going to be fighting it out.
No, I think it's too early. I think they'll fight. I think they'll work together and try to pull away from the pack. But if it's first and second nose to tail on the last lap, there's going to be a move. I just saw something that was slightly concerning just now when we went over the bridge. It looked like a car stopped on the side. I'm just hoping we don't have a internet connection issue with possibly Dino, because he should be up front here. And when I say internet connection issue, possibly on his screen he's racing, and or at least on our screen he might be missing.
Oh my goodness. Then Dean, of course, the winner from the last event, not in the mix at the moment now. What a disappointing turn of events for him.
We can see.
Yeah, that we can see. Might be further down. We can see if we can have a look at those standings later on. Taylor.
or it could be leading.
And be invisible thanks to European service for Gran Turismo.
Taylor, you and Taylor now on board with him. And he, of course, also did quite well last week at the last event. 5th place for you and Taylor. In the Mercedes AMG A-Class the last time. And now, once again, in the battle here. Oh, man, look at that. The Sav Speed car in front. Sav Speed stick on a Merc there, Marius. That's unusual.
But I'm loving, we remember at that last round, he sucked up so much pressure, if you remember, and clearly not a guy that's going to make any silly mistakes. He had an epic race having to deal with all of that, so I think he's not too stressed about the fact that Ewan is putting him under massive pressure. Look at the twitchiness on the front end. Steve, are both of these guys running off? Are they on controllers, or would they be running in rigs?
Lorenzo, I'm sure, is running a rig. I'm just admiring the livery on that car. He might not be in a BMW, but he's definitely running Sav Speed style.
Yeah, he is.
Steve, we just got a pass there from the DMR car, speaking of livery, but also I noticed that the car parked on the side of the road has got yellow livery, and that could be very well, as you mentioned, the car of Dino parked on the side of the road there.
Correct, but I mean, we obviously can only commentate on what we can see, so the results might be interesting at the end of the day.
Oh my goodness, that is Dino.
Yeah. Dino's on track. He's just obviously doesn't appear to be moving to us. But
that's really tricky. We could be missing out on an epic three-way battle for the lead at the moment. Because according to what we're seeing, look, this for people that are joining streams for the first time and watching sim racing for the first time. There's some technical things that happen that are not like a wheel breaking off of the car or a mechanical issue. You have proper technical issues, and by that we mean servers. You'll see cars ghosting off into the horizon. They are still racing. It's just the things we've got to kind of deal with. But let's get back to the racing action that we can see. And we've got two really good battles for the lead and a battle for third and fourth. And we're on board now with that battle for third and fourth place.
This is Juan that we're on board now.
Juan de Jager. And it's just, I don't remember him from round one. Was he in our top group?
He was in the top group. I think he actually qualified in second. He was the guy that ran wide very early on and had to try to fight through the pack.
Oh, you're right. Yes.
So
we know he's got pace. Yeah.
Definitely has the pace, and if we look and the car in front of him here, you can just see the squatting and the moving of these cars. One of the things that I see Gran Turismo does very well is the fact that you can see a little bit of compression on the suspension and tires as well. So you get to see all that movement, and just look at that through that corner, through the right-hander now. They're going to come up towards the bridge, and watch that left section here. This is where it gets tricky. The road closes up on them there. There's a couple of bumps, so they want to make sure they keep this car pinned down, but the car is all over the place. Lots of movement underneath the drivers, and these drivers are going to have to contend with that and get used to it as they make their way into the left-hander.
It's a great point that you raised there, Ernest, because it really is. Watching like this now from like the point of view, you really do get a feel of like you're watching real racing. And I think, maybe that's something that for me is missing a little bit when I watch a Sainte-Croix. You don't actually get that natural movement of the car. This really does look like the real deal, like we're watching the racing. It's actually nice in terms of that. I know guys will say in terms of how you set the cars up, obviously there's a lot more that you can play with in a Sainte-Croix, but visually what we're seeing here from a spectator and commentator's perspective is super exciting, because literally I can feel like my bum's moving at the moment. It's that real. But two great battles. We're on board there now with Safa. We're having a look at him in second place, right on the back of Deacon Peterson. So great racing all the way through with 25 minutes to go. Teammates, team orders, they're going for victory, I can tell you.
DKP now in first position, and a bit of a shuffle that's happened over here. I see that Steve Oosthuizen is further down the field, if I'm not mistaken. If I look through the Stephen Mock, is down in third position now. So he's dropped all the way down. We saw earlier on he had to have that time penalty. So things have shuffled quite a bit. And now DKP in first position with RTA Safa right behind him. No love lost between these two guys yet. Teammates though, but still plenty of racing in store. 25 minutes. And look at that. That was a bit of a cut there from DKP. I wonder if he's going to pay for that later on. We saw that the game is not afraid to dish out penalties.
Yeah.
And these guys are going to have to keep it tidy if they want to cross the line in first and second positions. Team RTA.
Steve, so what were you saying? That the guys might be running a different fuel mapping, so they're not obviously pushing out maximum output here and wanting to go long in terms of not having to pit stop at all.
Yeah, correct. And also running in the slipstream in Gran Turismo does help you save fuel slightly.
We saw that last week.
Even if you don't shift down the fuel map, just sitting behind a car helps. I see they went past Dino's Ghost there, which was appropriate with Dead Men Racing. He's living up to his name,
I bet they
possibly 10 seconds in the lead.
I bet they wish they didn't choose that name now. That was very close up the back.
I was also thinking that with the two first and second and third and fourth swapping around, they might be helping their teammates out by overtaking, doing a bit of the donkey work and helping the teammates save fuel for a little bit.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, that's I was going to say, I mean, I know obviously at our first round, definitely a slipstream circuit, and you did tell us then that Gran Turismo, the slipstream effect is massive, but this track, it didn't seem like it's going to be a lot more difficult to get proper slipstream benefits. Yeah, I know there's some fast sections where you can get in the toe, like we see perfectly through here, but a lot of the track is also left, right, up and down, changing direction. So sitting right on the tail of the guy for me is less of a benefit slipstream wise, because I'm going to be chomping my tires, because I'm going to be working a lot sitting in the dirty air. So I don't know, it's a bit of a toss up. Do you want to sit this close to your teammate? I don't know, tricky one.
Such a risky maneuver as well, but these guys seem to be doing it so well. I mean, look at that, lap after lap, 0.14 seconds to 0.17 seconds. That's under 0.2 of a second the gap. I mean, that is exceptionally close. He's right up on the back of that car, and look at the precision that these guys drive with. I mean, look at that. That is grabbing the toe down the straight, if ever anybody was going to do that. Well done to Team RTA for exploiting those rules. And as we said in the beginning, if the rule says that you can slipstream, or the rules doesn't say that you can't slipstream, drivers are going to do it.
Yeah, but look, I mean, we were talking more about that in qualifying. Yeah, the slipstream is purely to get the overtake move done, and it looks like he's putting some serious pressure, is RTA Safa on DKP up front now. So I'm expecting to see a move done at any point, because you don't want to be running lap after lap like this. But interesting to see that Juan de Jong is obviously ahead of Stephen Mock, who was our early lead, and we saw him exceeding track limits and getting penalized for that. And now it's a bit of a comeback race for him with 23 minutes to go. But he's opened up, he's dropped a little bit further back. He was all over the back of on the tail of Juan. Looks like he's fallen back a little bit more now. So I don't know if he's struggling with tyre wear. There's still quite a long way to go in the race. So obviously the option is there for a pit stop. But like Steve was saying, he doesn't think people are going to opt for that, and rather just see if they can make it last for the whole race.
Yeah,
also, we've actually just jumped to them. I was about to say, looking further down the list, RTA Donkey and Leap working together. Something happened to Lorenzo there, because he was behind Taylor.
Yeah, he's dropped way back.
He's
down in ninth. No, he's down in ninth now. So
corner cut penalty or something.
Yeah.
16 seconds behind there is the gap between 8th and 9th, and what a pity. We've got in the comments here Conrad Fenter saying that the Sam Speed livery looks great. I can agree with that. Another car down the bottom there, 12th position. We've got some new names
Tini
here,
Moritz, I think, is he one of the guys that moved up from Division 2? So now I see Tini Moritz having a good run in Division 1, and that for us is what's so exciting, because we know when we get to the next round, there are going to be a couple of new guys we're going to be meeting, and a couple of our Division 1 guys we're going to be saying goodbye to. So that is really cool. Look at the car bottoming out over that sparks off the back. It is absolutely epic to watch. The pressure that Diki is putting on RTA Safa in second place, putting pressure on Diki. Peter, is there a pass that we missed?
I wonder these guys.
No, I thought DKP was in second.
These guys, Safa was in second earlier on, and Safa was in second. Yeah, so I think Safa was in second, and
so there's been a switcheroo up at the top. So we obviously missed that pass, but I mean they're teammates, so maybe they are just okay. You work for a little bit now, do a couple of laps, and then. With 10 minutes to go, we properly slog it out. I don't know if the guys are going to have team orders like that, but for me, it just looks like epic racing at this point.
Yeah, insane nose to tail stuff. The two cars looking identical. It's a little bit confusing here for us, but nose to tail are these guys going 200 kilometers an hour now. Oh, look at that. The camera angles are just mental over here. Cuts taking curve. Takes the curve there.
You see, this is the bit of the track that I love. The left, right, over that little curb, and then you've got the wall over here. So you make one little mistake. For sure. You miss that turn, or you cut that corner too much, because there's a big curb. And we've seen a lot of guys getting their cars completely unsettled over that. So there is it's a high risk section. It's fast. You want to be committed, but one little mistake there, and you're just going to end in tears in a very, very nicely squared up Armco barrier.
Well, someone that certainly has a front row seat to a potential mistake would have been Safa, but here another RTA little gaggle of cars, Donkey and Leap slowly catching up with Taylor over there, leading him in slowly. I think these guys are definitely working together to try and catch up with the lead car in 6th position over there.
Yeah, that's Corné Oosthuizen all over the back of his teammates as well. So really, really nice to see a lot of new names that we often miss out because we're talking about the racing action up front. But good job by Daniel, our director, is ensuring that we get to see racing right throughout the field, which is awesome.
Yeah, RTA Leap, as you say, Corné Oosthuizen and KLM Pace. Oh, and they did not disappoint with the look of this car. KLM Pace, of course, is Caleb Mawa. Yeah, and he did not disappoint once again. I think he spends a lot of time setting this car up, but also spends a fair amount of time setting up that livery, and we don't mind at all.
It's strange. I mean, he's in 5th place, and we haven't seen him at all. So it's actually nice to catch up. He's having a bit of a lonely race, but what is nice is he knows that the guys in front of him are in a big battle, and they're just going to end up falling over each other, which is going to, that's so nice as a racing driver when you can see the target ahead of you, and you literally every corner you see that you're getting closer and closer and closer, and you just hope that the two guys ahead keep their battle on, because it's just obviously making his job a lot easier. So look at the gap. It's definitely come down. So this is going to be a nice little battle to watch. The battle for 4th could soon turn into a 3-way one.
Yeah, and that's
Caleb's not going to be shy. Just to fool those who don't know him, he actually also, after the last round, appeared on SABC's morning show, that Expresso.
Yes, I saw that.
That was great. Caleb representing for sim racing in SA, ATK, and for GTSA.
Yeah, I saw the Facebook post, and it's great to see the Mercedes-Benz ATK Pro Series starting to spread out like it is in the media and thereabouts. It's not just online. I mean, look at what we're doing now. This thing is going to get big, and it's thanks to guys like KLM Pace putting in the effort, energy, entering, and now competing for what looks like could be 3rd position. If he manages to get past these two front guys over here, he could be in for a podium spot. And he certainly wasn't in for a podium spot at the last event.
Touching the barrier there, we saw the sparks coming off. Oh man, there is no margin for error, and I love what you said about Macau. I mean, obviously this feels a little bit faster, and you've got some wider sections. But there are some tricky direction changes where if you make a mistake, and this car as well, trying to change direction under braking, which is what they have to do for a couple of the corners, really is going to unsettle the SLS.
On board now with
guys
KLM
really
Pace.
need to concentrate.
On board now with KLM Pace. Looking at in front of him, fourth place and third place. He's in fifth at the moment. And Kalen Mawa, absolutely on it at the moment. Takes a slightly different line there, but they both touch the dirt ever so slightly. The car bounces as it bottoms out over there, and now making their way towards the right-hander. Now it's going to be last of the late breakers, 229 kilometers an hour or thereabouts into the right-hander, and his lines are looking really good. But notice the car in front of him. It does look like that car's understeering quite a bit. I'd like to stay on this camera for a little bit and see what we can see going into the next corner and next set of corners now as they go into the braking zone. Again, hard on the brakes, 230 kilometers an hour. Let's check if there's any understeer in the front car. So far, so good. A little bit on the exit there, but not too bad. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens to the tires in the last 15 or so minutes of this race.
Yeah, look, I think as a driver, they'll be a lot happier dealing with a little bit of understeer neutral setup as opposed to a twitchy rear when you've got no runoff and concrete walls and Armco barriers. But like you said, you then have to be so critically careful in terms of how you manage that front end. And from what I can see here, a lot of high speed corners to the right, so that left front is going to be doing a lot of work. Steve, I don't know if that's what the guys have noticed, the big tire wears on the left front.
Yeah, both fronts, but we can actually keep a track and eye on that on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. You've got the tire indicators, so if we jump forward one car, we could possibly see how Kalen's compared to the DMR guys.
Yeah, because it looks like there is a hot spot there on the left front. Looks like his tire wear left to right is a bit more excessive, if my eyes don't deceive me. I've got the glasses on. I just need a zoom button.
On board with the DMR. It looks slightly more, not anything really to worry about. I see they're all also similar fuel levels.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kalen's one of the smoothest guys, and he always does look after his tires well. Being a 3-time GTSA champion, does that.
Oh, and Jean Diago having a go, yeah, for sure. He's actually got the run on. I think he's bringing Kalen with him as well.
Through the middle.
Three abreast, they make it through. Unbelievable stuff. Jean Diago, only 16 years old. Jean Diago, 16 years old.
That is classic. Where did that even come from?
My goodness. Kalen snatches third place. Unbelievable stuff there. This is what we were talking about earlier on. If that moment arose, would he be able to capitalize, take advantage? And he certainly did.
But I'd love a replay. I'd love a replay of that, because that for me came out of nowhere. I mean, I don't know if the guys made a bit of a mistake and were compromised on their exit speed, but he literally just went, "Oh, hi, I'm just going through the middle of you guys." Yes, that was brilliant to watch. But look at the battle up front.
RTA Safa made a move down the inside there, I think he's holding back on purpose. They've got 14 minutes to go now. RTA Safa in second place behind DKP Deegan, who's only 17 years old in that Mercedes-Benz over there, holding his composure. And I don't think he's having to go defensive. I think they've got a team strategy where they're saying, let's just get away from these guys. And then at the 10-minute mark, the hammer drops and off we go.
Geez, well, as far as part one of their strategy, let's get away from these guys. I think it's worked. Have a look. There's not a car in sight. Third place, way further back. And then you just realize these guys are all racing the exact same cars, and you realize how sharp these two drivers are at the front end for them to have gapped it like this. So with 13 minutes to go, it is massive, the lead that they've set up. There's a 6-second gap to third place. But look, the guys in third, fourth and fifth are having a proper battle. Juan de Jager looks like he's trying to get a pass done over here as well, all over the back of the guys. So this is really exciting racing for us. I still want to see it. Stephen Mocker was our early leader who's involved in that battle as well. But I'd love to try and see if there was a replay of that overtake, because it was epic.
Yeah, Jean de Jager now down in what looks like fifth place. In front of him, SMP Pro in fourth, and KLM Pace, the man with arguably the prettiest car here on the grid, again snatches third place. But can he keep it? Now these two guys look like they look like the kind of guys that just got surprised out of nowhere, and now now are punching. You know when you punch the inside of your other hand?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. This is what we're talking about. They're trying to get it back from KLM Pace. KLM Pace has got the inside line, runs wide, and now getting massive pressure down the inside. Now, again, he's got the inside line for the following left-hander, and another couple of left-handers coming up now, and then into the right. Who will get it first?
But that's what I'm saying. Something must have happened there, because it's actually in the exact same place where they caught up and got all over the back of Kalen. So I don't know if there's something that happened, because there was a big gap, and suddenly just through that section of the track they closed all over the back of him again. So it'll be interesting to watch on the next lap. But Stephen Mocker certainly looking super racy. KLM Pace under massive pressure at this point. But this is a great battle.
Even having a look down the inside there as they make their way down to the hard braking zone.
He's got it.
Oh, tucks in behind us, KLM Pace.
Great move.
Jay, right behind him, that is Juan.
Yeah, Juan de Jager has obviously now, he's sitting in 5th position. KLM Pace has lost a spot, and he might lose another one. Different, aggressive.
They're very aggressive move there. Closes the door on him, but Jean manages to stay in it. No damage, no love lost. 11 minutes and 28 seconds to go, folks. The racing continues here at the Mercedes-Benz ATK Pro Series. In case you didn't notice, we've got a whole bunch of Mercedes on the grid now. KLM Pace, the camera's on you at the moment, sir, as he makes his way through the switchback over there, getting massive pressure from behind now. Another gap towards 3rd place. That is Steve over there, is now starting to grow, and Steve managing to give himself a little bit of a buffer.
Yeah, it's strange. I mean, maybe that pass through the middle by who was it? Caleb, when he came through the middle. I don't know if that was a bit of a wake-up call for Stephen Mocker, because since then he's just put his foot down and he's opened a nice little gap in 3rd. So he's hoping that he can keep it like that and secure a podium spot, which would be obviously a great result. We're now further back a battle here for 7th on board with RTA Donkey. And like we've seen before, there's always good racing throughout the field. Our guys at the front end, I mean, they literally run away with it.
I think that car in front of RTA Donkey just ran wide there. That's Leap over there. I think he just ran a little bit wide, but no time lost.
It's Cornet Estes, and looks like he touched. But we've seen a lot of that. Like, the guys really are giving little barrier kisses here. You're seeing sparks not just coming off the bottom of the cars, but also off the side. But listen, doesn't look like it does anything to spoil the livery. So the cars are still looking super cool. But this is a great 3-way battle as well, with Cornet Estes and slap bang in the middle of all of that with RTA Donkey and Ewan Taylor. So really cool.
Ewan Taylor finished the last time, Marius.
They both, RTA Leap and Donkey, managed to get past Taylor at some point in the last couple laps.
Yeah, so Taylor then losing out 2 positions to both of these guys here, and he's trying to keep them honest, but I think he's slowly going to start falling off these guys. These guys seem to be working very well together. My heart skips a beat every time they come onto the straight, because I feel like I'm going to smash into the wall any second, but they somehow manage to stay out. Indicators ablaze in the yellow car over there, trying to maybe turn signal his way past the 2 cars in front.
No, he's got the keep left pass right, and that's exactly what happened to him. You know, I think he put the indicator on and everyone else drove past him, so that's a bit of a pity. But up front, have a look, KLM Pace in 4th. But as we saw, Stephen Mocker seems to have put the hammer down, up the pace a little bit, and broken a little gap. But these two now, remember the fierce battle they were in, the 3 of them, and now it seems to have spread out a little bit. So could we be seeing them settling down, and this being a position that we'll see the guys holding on to for the final podium spot? I think Stephen Mock will be happy. He started the race in 1st. If you remember, he had a track limits penalty issued, which saw him drop quite a way down. But he seems to have good pace and working his way back up, and now currently sitting in 3rd position. On board still RTA Safa in 2nd position, and keeping Deacon very, very honest. Are they playing games, Ernest? We don't know, but I think the time for game playing is going to be over, and we'll know if this was a proper shootout with 8.5 minutes to go.
The gloves are about to come off. 8 minutes and counting till the checkered flag gets dropped. You've got RTA Safa in 2nd position, right up behind the 17-year-old Deegan there. And just look at that, 245 kilometers an hour slipstreaming, climbing up to about 247. Hard on the brakes. They're down into 3rd gear now through the right-hander, still tucked in behind it. Notice the understeer on that front car there. A little bit of understeer on the exit, but still not making any big mistakes. 4th gear through the long sweeping left-hander up the hill, and the 17-year-old absolutely absorbing all the pressure as the car bucks and squats its way through that left-hander.
But I look at this and I think, Jesus, give me a car and I want to drive this track for real, because it really is a super circuit. I mean, it's got a little bit of everything, some real high-speed stuff, and then some super committed corners. So this is really cool to watch.
Third place is Dino, by the looks of things, which is some. First place, we've got a shuffling first place here. Oh, down the inside there. Down the inside, the overtake gets made. That looks like Dino's in second place again now. Otier Safa might have gotten first place from him. These guys are actually racing now, Marius. We missed a bit of a shuffle there in the conversation, but these guys are racing for real now.
Producers saying that Dino is apparently on track ahead of these guys.
Yeah, that's what we heard. So what we're having a look at here is our battle for first and second, but in theory is actually a battle for second and third, because Dean Norkier, who we saw his car ghosted there, we've just seen it as we've driven past it. In our server, we're not seeing him race, but he is still racing in the game. So this is apparently the battle for second and third. I'd love to know what the gap is to Dean Norkier. Terrible when you're leading a race and probably having the race of his life, and we're not getting to see it on the stream. So sorry if it's super confusing. We're obviously commentating on what we see here as first and second, but in actual fact, second and third, if I'm correct.
So Dean Norkier in first place again, and you know what? At least he didn't get knocked out. I mean, we all thought he might, be out of contention completely.
It's just bloody tricky as a commentary team. You know, you're getting excited about a guy who's battling for the final podium position. Yeah, we've got like KLM Pace. Looks like he's closing up the gap on the back of Stephen Mocker now, and Stephen Mocker isn't battling for the final podium spot. It's actually fourth. So a little bit confusing for you guys watching the stream and for us. But these are some of the technical challenges we deal with sim racing, of course. Doesn't mean the racing hasn't been brilliant to watch. So I think let's have a look at Stephen Mocker there. It's exact same. That's where they seem to get the pass
outside there. Wow, KLM
Pace got him
outside there. Stephen Mocker, 50 years old.
Oh yeah, he's got the pass done. So he's closed that gap again. Remember that some super exciting racing. That KLM Pace has got the pace back. He dropped off the back of Stephen Mocker, and now he's putting him under serious pressure. So it seems to me that part of the track where all the overtaking is happening.
Definitely. I think that's the longest straight. There's a corner that separates it, but it's flat out in these cars. So the highest effect of the slipstreams right at the end there.
Well, KLM Pace certainly showing his pace today, Marius, as you were saying.
Yeah. But listen, I'll obviously have to message Dean. He said earlier in the stream that he messaged me saying how nervous he is. Well, we can't see any of those nerves at play at the moment because we can't even see him on track. But apparently he is leading this race. I don't know what the gap is, if he's comfortably in the lead, but certainly some good battles we've been commentating on. And I'm liking that we're staying with this race action for a while, because KLM Pace certainly finding the rhythm again and putting Stephen Mocker under serious pressure. But if we can at some point have a look at what's happening with DKP and RTS Safa in that battle for second and third, because you and I were both commenting, there we go, are they playing games? I don't think so. I think this is racing for real.
No more games being played. This is for second place now. This is for second place, and on board we go with RTA Safa now, the 26-year-old, right behind DK. They've been swapping places a couple of times, and just look at how close he's getting to the wall. Touches the wall into the left.
I love it.
Swatting and wiggling its way through, and unbelievable stuff. This is wall-to-wall. This is wall-to-wall racing right here.
Can I tell you what's going to be interesting? We know in a couple of rounds they're going to... and again, in a couple of rounds they're going to also be getting to play in the Formula One cars. You ain't going to be able to do that because those sparks won't be body work. It'll be wheels. So I think the driving style changes quite a bit. They know they can obviously push to the very edge of the track limits here in the Mercedes-Benz SLS. I love the little pop of blue flame out the back. It's awesome, eh?
Yeah, it's definitely one of the most impressive games visually, like you guys were saying earlier about them. The physics on some of the other games might be slightly better, but for viewing, nothing beats Gran Turismo.
Yeah, it's incredible how realistic it looks when you sit behind watching the car, especially that low-down point of view. You really can see the movement, and that's movement that if you've been in a race car tailing somebody, that's exactly what you're seeing. It's incredible how they've managed to get it so realistic.
Well, we've got some comments here in the stream. We've got Kendall Mauer saying, "Did you see my son?"
Yeah. Yeah, we did. He went straight through the middle. I mean, he split them. It was beautiful to watch. But look at this little battle as well. So we saw falling back earlier, Juan. I think that's Juan. Is that Juan? That's drawn back. Yeah, and he seems to have made up a position again. So he split the two RTA cars. What a great three-way battle, yeah.
Whoa, down the inside goes the yellow car there. Will he make it? Gets cut off. This is going to be very close. They leave each other space there. One of the RTA cars runs wide. They side by side go the two RTA cars. But it looks
Cornet is on his own, yeah, because the teammates are going to help each other out for sure. But awesome to watch this battle.
Awesome stuff indeed. And the racing's still going on with 2 minutes to go. 2 minutes to go as we cut now to KLM Pace, who's technically in fourth position.
He's got it past. He's got the move done, so we've missed that overtake. So he has got past Stephen Mocker somewhere while we were watching that battle for 6th and 7th. So brilliantly done.
His dad's probably shouting in the comment section there. Safa is now in third position with DTP in second place. DTP, of course, as I said, the young South African, only 17 years of age with 1.5 minutes to go, nose to tail as they make their way to the checkered flag. 1.5 minutes of racing in this really fantastic virtual circuit that Gran Turismo has provided. This configuration, one of many, but the shorter version, and just look at how close these guys are going. They're now coming up to the hard braking zone for the tight right-hander. Who is going to take it with just 1 minute of racing to go? This is going to go all the way to the flag, folks.
Yeah, that was that subsection of the track Stephen was talking about, where it's the longest straight. Even though there's a corner that splits it, it is flat out in this car. So I don't know if RTA Safa is saying, right, I'm just going to sit here, and that's where he's going to make his move as the clock counts out onto the last lap. So watch it. That could be exactly what he's trying to do. He'll be happy, of course, to be on the podium. That's third and second that you're looking at now. With
last time, Marius, as far as championship contention goes, this is exactly where they finished in the last race.
Yeah, but I do think RTA Safa is going to want to go one better. So Kyle Westhuizen all over the back of Deacon at this stage. Dean obviously running away with things up front. What we're told, we can't see it, but visually we're only commenting on second and third at this point, and it's been an epic battle.
Epic battle indeed, and now the countdown begins. 15 seconds of racing to go. 10 seconds of racing to go. Now the pressure starting to come on. RTA Safa has a look down the inside. He looks on the left-hand side there, but he can't see what's happening. He can't see a gap. DKP doing well, the 17-year-old doing very well to maintain that distance, maintain his second place. But can he do it till the end? This might be the last lap. I see the countdown time is gone.
This definitely is going to be the last lap. So one more chance.
And this is where it's going to happen. Yeah, this is the fast section now. They come out of that last little tricky bit over the bridge, and then I think, if I'm correct, Steve, this is where that long straight, they've got a left-hander coming up, and then into that final back-end section. There you can have a look at it on your circuit. They've got a tight left coming up, another right, and then the fast section. Look at him touching the barrier all the way down. It is crazy.
Oh, all the way wall to wall, really taking this car up to the track limits.
So here it comes. This is where it's going to happen.
This is where you do it.
Yeah, this is going to happen now. This is the last bit. Watch, I've got money on RTA Safa. I think Carl's been lining this up for a while, and he's got to have a lunge here.
Flat out now, they go through the right-hander into the last tight corner, right up on the back bumper. 240 odd k's an hour will be where they break into the right-hander, flat out, as Steve mentioned earlier on. He's going to have a look down the inside. Will he?
Here he goes. He's got under braking. He's got to have a go. Oh,
oh my goodness, almost wide does first place, second place man DKP over there, but manages to hold on to it.
Can I tell you something? Deacon is a demon on the brakes, because we've noticed every time he just runs it to the very, very last, and that is what's killing it for Carl. He just can't get it done. He just isn't as good on the brakes. So Deacon, well done, my man. That was epic.
Epic stuff as they make their way down the hill. Some of the corners at Laguna Seca, there's a car squats its way and compresses that suspension. The RTA team's going to be happy with another 2 and 3 as the checkered flag gets waved. Dean goes across the line first, which you guys may not have seen, but the RTA team gets second and third, and the order stays the same. Fourth place man, another team or car making his way around the corner there, with DJ in fifth position there. Well done to all these drivers, keeping it clean as the final bunch now make their way through. The racing continues right till the finish line. Unbelievable.
Not sure what happened there, but Lorenzo jumped caught
Yeah,
back
he
up
was-
and dumped both RTO
Oh,
cars
Lorenzo Gualtieri gets ahead of both of those cars there. The team
with some sav speed in there.
Sam's
Yeah, because he was. You're right. Well picked up, because he was down in ninth and nowhere near that battle. So that was an awesome result from ninth to seventh for Gualtieri, for brilliant racing for Lorenzo. But yeah, I'd love to have seen Dean, our top finisher. So don't worry about what you're seeing on your boards at the moment. That's not correct. We'll try and get that sorted for you.
Wow, unbelievable stuff there, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back after this break. I'm going to catch my breath, and I hope you guys will do the same. We'll see you in a couple of moments. Wow. The ATK Pro Series and Mercedes-Benz once again deliver the goods in what has to be some of the most exciting racing you'll see, whether it's on the TV screen or on YouTube. This is just fantastic stuff. Oosthuizen there in third position. Peterson in second. That's the 17-year-old Deegan Peterson in second position. But as usual, and as it was at round one, Dean Orkay gets first place again. He gets about 3 seconds ahead.
Ghosted his way to a win.
Exactly. I'm glad you've said that, Stephen. I mean, I know, like Ernest and I are kind of, that's the most bizarre, surreal commentary thing we've ever done, commenting on a guy we didn't see race at all. But I mean, apparently it's something that happens quite a lot in Gran Turismo. So, yeah, Dean, well done. I'd love to tell you that that's some of the best racing I've ever not seen, because that literally is the case. But the battle that we did see was Deacon Peterson and Carl Oosthuizen, an epic battle for second and third place, and actually racing all the way down. And that is what I love. This is what happens when you guys are all racing in identical cars around a track that is super, super challenging. Yeah, it was mega.
I think Dean, from where we were standing, it looked like Dean parked his car on the side of the track and had a cigarette, watched the race, and still won the race.
I'm just checking on my chat groups. Safa posted on the RTA group the finishing positions. Dean was 5.2 seconds ahead at the end.
Okay.
Wow. That's a big gap. And considering that Peterson and Oosthuizen were probably working together to try and catch up, because they would have known that he was in first place. So if they were working together to try and catch up, I mean, what a fantastic race from him to stay 5.2 seconds ahead at the pace that these guys were going.
Well done, Ernest, because I think that's a very good point you brought up, because obviously we're not seeing that, and we thinking, is there team orders? What are they doing? But now we know what they were doing. They were obviously trying to close the gap to Dean up ahead, So to finish, like you said, at the end, 5 seconds ahead is awesome. So kind of ignore what you were seeing, because that obviously isn't correct. But wow, what an amazing, exciting race again, and that for me is what I love about the fact that we've got Gran Turismo as part of the ATK Pro Series as well, because it brings a totally different dynamic. We obviously, like I was saying off air to Steve, we obviously do struggle as commentators, because I know you guys are all used to, throwing handles at each other, and that is how you guys are known. But, for us, we like going with the names. And I just think, building the brand and the sport going forward, it's cool to be able to get to know you guys by name and commentate on name as well, because you want to become a household name, not a household handle, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
no, definitely. We're going to have you guys well versed in the GTS handles by the end of this. Also,
exactly.
I'm just looking. The gap, like I said, from first to second was 5 seconds, but then from third to Kalen was another 11 seconds odd, which just shows the effect of battling when Kalen was battling with the two DMR guys. And I think possibly what might have happened is, I'm totally guessing. I'll have to ask Dean later, but he might have actually been on pole. And while the two RTA guys were behind Stephen Mock, the Dino might have made a bit of a break for it while they were battling to get past.
That's a good point,
because,
Steve. Yeah.
Yeah, I see the fastest lap was a 2:18.4 by Deaky.
Yeah.
He also would have had a bit of slipstream help in that, where Dino was out front running by himself.
Well, we certainly are getting to know some of the names, and a name that stands out to me, two names. Let's start with Lorenzo Gualtieri doing very well to get ahead of those two RTA cars in the end over there. And then, of course, I think the man with, even though we didn't see most of that overtake, Kalen Mawa, based on I think he might be our driver of the day. I mean, fantastic drive from Kalen Mawa to end up where he did. I mean, fantastic.
No, I loved that move because it was like out of nowhere. I mean, he just came and burst straight through the middle. It was brilliant to see. But I mean, some super exciting racing. I see up, the next round of Brands Hatch, which is obviously now not a Gran Turismo circuit, a traditional circuit. We know brilliant. We've had motorbikes racing there. British touring cars have been around there. So it is a very tricky circuit again, and like I said, Sainte-Croix is going to a British circuit as well for our next round, so it's going to be in 5 weeks time the best of British essentially in terms of the circuits that we go to. So looking forward to seeing a traditional track again, because I think what also helps is it's realistic in terms of you've seen other cars around there and you can start appreciating lap times, because the lap times now have meaning, and we always try and do that with a Sainte-Croix. We know what lap times the real GT3 cars are doing around the track because they race there. So it'll be quite cool when we go to Brands Hatch to have that.
Well, Brands Hatch, of course, is an iconic circuit, and this will be the F1 version, which is the extended version. I've personally been to that circuit, and I tell you, those undulations over there are insane. It doesn't look it on a game or on a TV.
It never does.
But these guys are going to be experiencing extreme undulations, and the car they'll be driving is also going to be something slightly different and something special. And of course, the car will be the 300 SEL of Mercedes-Benz's, well, technically one of their first ever race cars, 6.8 liter AMG 300 SEL. That is going to be an absolute handful. If we thought
that was known as the red pig back in the day.
Yes.
I think it won the 24 Hours of Spa.
Yes, correct. So this is going to be an absolute pig around that circuit. If we thought the SLS was difficult to manage, I mean, Steve, you can speak to this. Do you think this car is going to be very difficult to drive around there?
It's extremely difficult to drive. These guys, I'm sure, get it right and put a lot of practice in, but I enjoy driving it in the game, but it's definitely not easy to use.
The red pig, as they say, will be the car of choice at Brands Hatch. And as I said, an iconic circuit. The Mercedes-Benz ATK Pro Series moving to Brands Hatch for round 3. The top 3 order was the same this week. What will happen then? I mean, are we going to see a shuffle in things next time? Steve, what are your thoughts on the standings today? I mean, it's exactly the same, but the way it unfolded was completely different.
Yeah, the cream always rises to the top, they say. So Dino was one of the guys we expected, and DKP and Safa as well with Kalen. To run through the list, Dino's won a few different GTSA Pool 1 races. The same goes for DK, Safa as well. Kalen's a 3-time champ. Another 3-time or 2-time champ is Donkey, who's been playing a lot of Assetto Corsa. So his focus seems a little bit split at the moment to me.
Well, one of the things you mentioned earlier on, Steve, and I think Marius, you mentioned this as well, is that these guys, they now got the spotlight shone on them. I mean, you said that you got a message this week from Dean that he's nervous. And I mean, the spotlight is on now, guys. This is one of those situations, because this is part of motor racing, isn't it? To be able to handle this kind of pressure.
Yeah, it's not a game anymore, and the minute you're getting media attention, like you were talking about, Kalen being on the Espresso show, and it's like mainstream media and that type of stuff, that does obviously ramp things up big time. And like we know, the guys now have a long break. It's 5 weeks until the next round. So they know they've got a tricky car. They know they're at a technical circuit. So I'm sure they're going to be putting in all the practice like any racing team would be doing going into the next round. So I'm expecting to see some great racing. I just hope, obviously, from a technical perspective, we have a faultless stream, so we can obviously see what Dean was doing instead of having a couple of ghost cars. But it was another epic round of Gran Turismo racing. Loved it.
Yeah, an absolutely epic round of Gran Turismo racing. And I mean, these guys really keep it tight and tucked in, don't they? They really, really do. It's fantastic, the fact that they're able to keep it so tight, start to finish. And I don't think we saw any incidents. The only incident we saw was sparks flying off the wall.
But I think, I mean, I know we're running out of time on the stream, but I mean, the cool thing, I think that is what we do, like you mentioned right in the beginning, the ability to go door to door in game is better in Gran Turismo, and that's why you're seeing it. I mean, the cars are getting themselves properly unsettled, but you're still able to hang on to it. Now, a lot of guys might say, well, that's the difference. Like in a Sainte-Croix, you would have spun out there, you wouldn't have held onto it. What's more realistic? I don't really care, because at the end of the day, those guys are hanging onto those cars and driving them to the max. And for us as commentators and spectators, it is super, super exciting. I love single make racing. I think it is the best.
I could not agree more, Marius. Echoing all your thoughts there. Steve, thanks so much for joining us, for giving us all that technical insight. We certainly needed it tonight. And Marius Roberts, of course, as usual, joining me in the commentary booth. My name is Ernest Page, and this is the Mercedes-Benz ATK Pro Series, powered by Kyalami 9 Hour and Motorsport South Africa, giving it the official stamp of approval. We'll see you guys at Brands Hatch for round 3.
Thanks.